Shalom. I'd like to give all undergoing praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, like a double honors to our apostles and elders, great millstone. Salutations to our sincere Akim, pushing his word out across the four corners of the world. And this is just a response video to one of the brothers in our camp by the name of Priest Abaya. His YouTube channel page is Ak Judah 2011. And he did a video recently entitled, O Ye Moon, Who Owns You? And it's regarding this article right here from slashgear.com. And it says, Who Owns the Moon? Which was published on January the 7th, 2022. And it says, here on Earth, we're used to the idea of land ownership. A piece of land belongs to someone, whether that's an individual, a company, or a state. And the owner has rights over what is done with that land. But what about the moon? Who owns that? The short answer is that no one owns the moon. That's because of a piece of international law, the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, put forward by the United Nations, says the space belongs to no one country. The exploration and use of outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, it reads via UN, should be carried out for the benefit and in the interest of all countries, irrespective of their degree of economic or scientific development, and should be the province of all mankind. This specifically includes the moon, with the treaty going on to say that outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, should be free for exploration and use by all states without discrimination of any kind. This means that legally speaking, no country can claim to own the moon. Countries might plant their flags there, but this is a symbolic gesture rather than a proof of ownership. In this way, the moon is similar to Antarctica, which researchers from different countries can visit and work on, but can't claim ownership of. And right here, it's stated countries might plant their flags there, and that's nothing but a falsehood, because no person or no other country has ever landed on the moon. So this so-called moon landing, it was nothing but a hoax, which was nothing but a fraudulent act, trickery, deception that was conjured up by the tabernacle of Esau Edom, which happens to be the so-called Caucasian race today. And you had a popular rock band by the name of Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they had a song that came out years ago called Californication. And part of the lyrics of that song is stated, space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. And that's pursuant to the book of Psalm, the 64th chapter, how they should make their own tongue fall upon themselves, and how they just exposing themselves in these latter days. Because everything that we was taught coming up within this society, this stronghold, it was nothing but lies. So everything's coming out to the light now of the exposure of Esau Edom, along with his lies, his deceptions, his mischiefs, and evil doings that he has planted throughout this whole world since he's been in rulership. So everything's coming out to the light now. So going back to this right here, of the title of the article, Who Owns the Moon? So what they're doing, by any chance that they get, they're trying to discredit a higher power, a higher intelligence, which is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that's just part of Esau's job, beginning with the top banking elites. Pursuant to the book of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, it goes into even him who's coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. So everything that we was taught within this stronghold was nothing but lies, deceptions, trickery. So Esau Edom, beginning with the elites of them, they are Satan personified, which is the adversary to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the adversary to righteousness. And here we are within this society. Before we was given the gift of the Holy Spirit by coming back into the way of remembrance of the understanding of the Holy Scriptures, we was under that vibration. As it says in the book of 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, how the God of this world blinded the ones that believe not. So before we came into this holy understanding, we was given to Esau's way of deception. Which leads me to the book of Colossians, the 2nd chapter, starting at verse 8. And it says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. So when you spoil something, that means that you're causing damage or decayance too. And that's how Esau has did the world, with the ways of his deception through his school systems. Because we were all implanted with the wicked philosophies and doctrines of this current fashion of the world. So it says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. So all the so-called wisdom of this world is nothing but spoiled philosophy and vain deceit. And it says, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Yahushai. So within this article, they did not state anything about a higher power or just anything dealing with the Heavenly Father. And that's how you know through the spirit that America is Babylon the Great. God, this is the place that they etched out or they cross out the vibration of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Because Esau, he's trying to sit in the temple of the Heavenly Father to show himself that he is the Most High. And that's because he has that God complex. So they did not give any credit to a higher power by owning the moon. So they would just say that no one can own the moon. And that further leads me to Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived. And this is talking to the hopeful elect of the nation Israel. We cannot be ignorant of Satan's devices, nor can we fall for the wiles of this devil. So be not deceived. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And what has the tabernacle of Edom beginning with the higher ups of them has sowed within this world? Deceptions, trickery, robberies, ill doings, murders, and the list goes on. So with that type of negative energy that he has implanted throughout this whole world since he's been in rulership, he's going to have to answer for that by a higher power, which is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And that's exactly why he's going down the way that he is in these latter days. Because the more that we're getting closer to the end of his empire, the more that he's trying to shift into this world of anti-Messiah vibration via his technology. So be not deceived. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is not mocked, meaning ridiculed. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And we already know through the spirit that Yahushai is that reaper. So like I stated earlier, before we came into the gift of having this holy understanding, we were all under the falsehoods and the dogmas of Esau's wisdom, going into his spoiled philosophies and vain deceits, which is darkness according to the scriptures. And that leads me to the book of Psalm 52 verse 2. Thy tongue devising mischiefs. So when you devise something, that means that you're contriving or you're conjuring up a crafty scheme or plan. And we already know through the spirit, anything that's dealing with Esau, Edom, it's all in the manner of wickedness. Because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has spiritually designed him to be that vessel of dishonor. So of course, he's going to do his job because, as it says, who can resist his will? Like the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So thy tongue devising mischiefs, like a sharp razor working deceitfully. And that's how you know through the spirit, that's that serpent mentioned in the book of Genesis, the 3rd chapter. How it stated that the serpent was more subtle than any beast in the field. Because that's his blessing to deceive the world. And that can go to the ways of his democracy, his religions, his vain philosophies and left-hand wisdom, his so-called evolution, and ultimately that totals up to his Babylonian wine, pursuant to the book of Revelation 18:3, for all nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And here we are, we was prey under his vibration of his wisdom. And the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So anything that this Edomite comes or produces or brings out, you always have to question it. So it says, thy tongue devising mischiefs like a sharp razor working deceitfully. So all of Esau's main active ingredients is evil, harm, wickedness, lies. And it says right here, verse 3, thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Again, who's coming is after the working of Satan. So he's adverse to truth. He's adverse to righteousness. Verse 4, thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. Because within this article, you can see they didn't mention anything by a higher power. And that's how Esau does. He's trying to discredit Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in all ways and forms. In the times that we are coming into with his technology that he's trying to implement, dealing with this artificial intelligence, these human cyborgs, and these different robots that he's been working on for many years, he's trying to cross out completely that vibration of a higher intelligence. But he's not going to deceive the very elect of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And that vibration pursues to the book of Wisdom of Solomon 8 verse 8. How it says, she, referring to the wisdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, knoweth the subtleties of speeches. So through this holy understanding, which is the gift of the Holy Spirit, we know how to spiritually discern when we see wayward articles like this, or when we're seeing that left-hand wisdom being brought forth within this current world. And through the Spirit, we know how to cut it with the Holy Scriptures. And we know that it was a higher power or intelligence that came up with the moon, with the sun, with the stars, the various animals that we see in today's time. And this is Genesis 1:16. And the powers, because you go into this Hebrew word for God, it goes into Elohim, referring to the powers or the judges. And ultimately, that's referring to Yahawashi and also the elect that was with him, that was given the ordinance to create these things by the Heavenly Father Yahweh. So it says, and the powers made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, which goes into the moon. He made the stars also. And to link that up through the spirit that was Yahawashi, given the decree by the Heavenly Father Yahweh to make these things, this is the book of Proverbs 8:22. The Lord Yahweh possessed me in the beginning of his way before his works are old. And this is King Solomon speaking, and we know through the spirit that this is Yahawashi. Verse 23, I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning or ever the earth was. Where there was no depths, I was brought forth, where there was no fountains abounding with water. Verse 25, before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth, while as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. And here's the point, verse 27, when he prepared the heavens, I was there, when he set a compass upon the face of the depth. So the Heavenly Father Yahweh, he devised this plan or elaborated this scheme to come up with by the creation of the moon, the stars, the sun, and as many other creations. So jumping back to Genesis 1:16, and the Elohim, or the powers, made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So this is all under the vibration of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that leads me to the book of Wisdom of Solomon 1:14. For he created all things that they might have their being, and the generations of the world were helpful, and there is no poison of destruction in them, nor the kingdom of death upon the earth. So the Heavenly Father Yahweh through his son Yahawashi via the elect created all these things. And what are those things? Let's get the book of Psalm 148:3. Praise ye him, sun and moon, praise him, all ye stars of light. So all these different creations that we see in today's time that the Heavenly Father Yahweh devised or gave that ordinance to Yahawashi, along with the powers, they all praise Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So it says, praise ye him, sun and moon, praise him, all ye stars of light. Praise him, ye heavens of heavens, and ye waters that be above the heavens. Let them praise the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, for he commanded, and they were created. Verse 6, he had also established them forever and ever. He had made a decree which should not pass. And that's why we are still witnessing here in 2022, the greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is the moon, still doing their decrees that was given to them by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that decree, which should not pass, is going to be established forever and ever. So going back to the title of this article, who owns the moon? And hopefully through the spirit, you already know it's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Because you read into the book of Ecclesiastes 24:8, it says the creator of all things, referring to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So with this article, this is just Esau trying to fulfill his agenda, his MO, discrediting Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And the closer that we get to his end, the more that he's trying to reach his NWO agenda. And a part of the NWO agenda is totally Xing out Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that higher intelligence. Because you read into the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter and 25th verse, it's prophesied that he should speak great words against the Most High. And that's why we are seeing these wayward articles, all these different vain philosophies and left-hand wisdom that Esau is doing in today's time. Hence this article right here. So I brought this out. You all was edified with that. You all stay strong. Keep pushing forward. Shalom.